GB News reporter Tom Harwood was abruptly cut off by Nigel Farage on Monday evening when he tried to report on the anti-lockdown protests in London. However, some protesters began shouting obscenities behind Tom, leaving Nigel with little choice but to end the chat. GB News viewers got to see Nigel Farage front the first episode of his all-new show on the channel on Monday as he gave his views on the latest headlines dominating the news cycle, with Monday also marking the so-called Freedom Day in which England lifted a number of coronavirus restrictions. Hundreds of protesters still took to the streets of London to protest any future rules being imparted on their lives. Tom Harwood was the GB News reporter tasked with providing Nigel with updates from the ground. But things quickly went off the rails. The moment came towards the end of Nigel's first outing as a GB News presenter in which he spoke with Sir Graham Brady, the chairman of the 1922 committee, as the two debated whether the lifting of restrictions was a good idea as well as the NHS track and trace app. The conversation soon turned to the aforementioned protests. There's a protest going on as we speak outside the gates of number 10, Downing Street, Nigel said to viewers. And I'm hoping we can cross-live to our political correspondent there at these protests, Tom Harwood. As soon as Tom began delivering his report, however, a protester quickly jumped into shot and began screaming down the camera. There is a protest here and there has been a protest all day, an anti-lockdown protest, Tom began, but the protester wasn't going anywhere. Within moments of the report, the protester began branding Tom as scum and WR for reporting as part of a media team. Tom soldiered on with his report, telling Nigel, at the moment, the police are trying to clear the streets, trying to clear the roads, but there have been some people who've been trying to obstruct them. Tom said, but he soon became drowned out by the foul-mouthed protester. Spotting the difficulties in the broadcast, Nigel quickly took action and decided to end Tom's report there. Cutting him off, Nigel said, "Okay, Tom, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, I really don't." The camera then cut to Nigel in the studio as he continued. 11 people have been arrested so far, but you can see. Talk about don't shoot the messenger. There's Tom Harwood reporting for us and there are obscenities being shouted at Tom because he's a member. He is part of the media. I apologize to anyone at home who heard that bad language. That was not the plan, Nigel added. Nigel didn't cut back to Tom, but the reporter did take to social media to speak out, being taken off air as a result of the protesters' outburst. Tom sarcastically retweeted a clip of the report with the caption, "Great advert for those who want their protests reported. Thumb up emoji." And it seems men sided with the reporter following the barrage of abuse from the member of the public. That was repulsive. Luckily I just put the kids to bed. The ignorance of some people, one fan replied on Twitter. A second added, "To be fair Tom, I disagree with most of the stuff you spout. Big credit to you for holding it together there." While a third tweeted, "Well done for playing it so cool there pal," and a fourth commented, "You did incredibly well to keep going."